In this video, let's check out the Mavo Phantox Pro. I've heard a lot about this manual coffee grinder and have seen it mentioned a couple of times in the comments. Let's check out its design and build quality. When I opened the box, the packaging felt sturdy and well put together. Inside, you get a travel bag, a detailed instruction manual, and a cleaning brush. Under the cover, you'll find the grinder itself and the handle. The body of the grinder is made from aluminum, and it uses an external grind size adjustment design. At first glance, the details and texture are really well done, and all the parts fit together nicely. The bottom has a catch cup that you twist to open, and there's also a non-slip silicone band inside. The handle is made entirely of metal with a matte finish, and it comes with a wooden knob that looks great. The top cover is designed for using it with an electric drill, in case you don't want to grind by hand. Once you attach the handle, the grinding is very smooth, and the central shaft feels stable with no wobbling at all. The whole grinder, including the handle, weighs around 610 grams. My first impression is very positive. Everything feels solid and well made. Now, let's talk about the grind settings. I've always liked grinders with external adjustment. It is really convenient to use. There are suggested grind settings printed right below the dial. The dial itself has 12 numbers, and there are 10 clicks between each number, so you get a total of 120 settings. Each click changes the grind size by 16.7 microns, which is quite a small step for a hand grinder and sufficient for dialing in espresso. The feedback when you turn the dial is satisfying. There's a red dot on the body that shows your current grind setting. Usually, one full rotation covers everything from fine espresso grinds to coarse grinds for cold brew, so you don't have to remember how many full rotations you've made. If you need an even coarser grind, you can keep turning past one rotation, but honestly, I rarely need to go that coarse. Let me show you the consistency of the coffee grounds at different grind settings. It can definitely grind fine enough for espresso or mocha pot. From the medium to coarse grind, you can see the consistency is very good. Even at the very coarse end, the grinds are still quite uniform, without lots of noticeable fine particles. It seems to produce fewer fines than many grinders I tested. Let's open up the Mavo Phantox Pro and take a look at the internal structure. Don't forget, there's an Allen key in the travel bag that you'll need for cleaning the burrs. To take it apart, first remove the catch cup. Hold the handle to keep the burr from turning, then use the Allen key to unscrew the bolt at the bottom by turning it counterclockwise. Make sure you don't lose this screw. Once that's out, you can remove the fixed plate, and then you can take out the burr. Right away, I noticed this burr is much larger than what I've seen on many other grinders I've reviewed. We'll take a closer look at it in a moment. After removing the burr, you'll see a spring and a washer inside. For regular cleaning, you only need to disassemble up to this point. There's no need to take apart the top section, so you don't have to recalibrate every time you clean it. Just put everything back when you're done. To show you the full internal structure, I've completely disassembled the grinder. After taking off the handle, unlike other grinders, there's no thumb nut visible. You actually need to pull out the entire dial, which doesn't take much force. Inside, you'll find the thumb nut, and now you can remove the central shaft. There's a bearing on the shaft, and there are more bearings inside and at the back of the body. This triple bearing setup is why the rotation feels so smooth and stable. That's all the parts laid out, and overall, the build is very solid. Now let's take a closer look at the Mavo patented Star Blade burr. This is a heptagonal burr. My first impression is that the inner burr is really big, measuring about 37 millimeters. Even though it's labeled as 45 millimeters, it's actually larger than the 48 millimeter burrs in some other grinders I've tested, where the inner burr is usually around 32 millimeters. The most unique part is the design of the outer burr. It has a sawtooth shape, which I haven't seen in other hand grinders. Usually, the larger the burr diameter, the higher the grinding efficiency, but it also takes more effort. With this special tooth shape, it's said to improve grinding efficiency and reduce the amount of fine powder, giving you a cleaner cup. Each cutting surface has clear vertical lines. Finish looks uniform and precise. Putting it back together and recalibrating it back to 0 point is also relatively simple. First, screw the nut onto the grinder, then insert the shaft, making sure the bearing is in place on the shaft. You don't need to worry about the grind setting yet. Just attach the adjustment ring and handle to help keep everything steady. Next, place the washer inside. Pay attention to the washer's orientation. The side with the raised edge should face the inner bearing, and the flat side should face outward. After that, drop in the spring, and then fit the burr back in. When you press the burr down, you'll notice the central shaft is shaped like a square. Line this up with the hole in the fixed plate. Once it's in position, the fixed plate and the bottom of the burr should fit together with no gap. Now you can put the screw back in. Now you can recalibrate. Remove the handle and adjustment dial. Push the burr all the way up to its tightest point, then turn the thumb nut at the top counterclockwise until it stops. Just use gentle pressure. Don't force it, or you might damage the burrs. At this point, the burrs are close together. The last step is to align the 0 mark on the dial with the red dot on the body and push the dial back in. That's it. The grinder is now recalibrated and ready to use. Let's brew some coffee and see how the Mavo Phantox Pro performs. First, I made a pour over using a light roast Ethiopian coffee. I set the dial to 7.5, which is 75 clicks. Light roast beans are quite dense, so at the start you feel a bit of resistance, but once you get going, it becomes pretty smooth. By around 20 seconds, most of the whole beans are already ground, and the rest of the time is just finishing up the smaller pieces. The total grinding time was about 30 seconds. I didn't use RDT, so there was a bit of static, but not much fine coffee stuck to the bottom of the burr. This grinder produces very few fines, and the grind consistency is quite good. Using a 1:15 ratio, the extraction took about 2 minutes and 10 seconds. The coffee smelled really nice. I also ground the same beans with the Espresso K Ultra at setting 8, which is about the same grind size. Using the same recipe, I brewed another cup for comparison. With the Phantox Pro, I found the coffee to have good sweetness and a smooth body, and the clarity of flavors was quite good, probably because of the low amount of fines. The acidity wasn't too aggressive. Overall, it was a very enjoyable cup. The K Ultra also made a good cup, but side by side the acidity was a bit brighter with the K Ultra. Both cups had a clean taste, and you can notice some differences, but it's hard to say which one is better. Taste is quite subjective. Since the Phantox Pro is about $100 cheaper, has similar build quality, and the difference in coffee quality isn't that big, I think it offers great value. Next, let's see how it handles espresso. I set the dial to 2.2 and gave it a try. For espresso, I like to spray a bit of water on the beans to reduce static and retention. At first, you need to use a bit of force, but once you get some momentum, it becomes much easier. For this test, I used medium dark roasted beans. Overall, grinding for espresso with this grinder feels pretty manageable. I use both hands in a circular motion instead of holding the body still, which makes it less tiring. It took about 50 seconds to grind a dose for espresso, which is a good speed for a manual grinder. I used the same puck prep process for different grind sizes, and I kept the espresso machine and brew settings the same. The flow rate looked on target. The first shot using the 2.2 setting finished in 25 seconds. The espresso looked great, but I wanted to go a click finer to see how it would work. I switched to 2.1 and pulled another shot. This time, it finished the same yield in 27 seconds. Changing from 2.2 to 2.1 made about a 2-second difference in shot time. You have 1 to 2 clicks of space for fine adjustments. The espresso had a rich crema, but since there aren't many fines, the overall body was a bit lighter. In terms of taste, it didn't have strong bitterness, and there was plenty of caramel sweetness. It was a very tasty shot. After testing a few shots, I'm confident the Phantox Pro can definitely handle espresso as well. That wraps up my walkthrough of the Mavo Phantox Pro. It's a really solid manual grinder with a unique burr design, suitable for both pour-over and espresso. The grinding efficiency is high, and it doesn't take too much effort to use. In this price range, I think it's definitely worth considering. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching.